Good morning, folks. It's the one and only Vita Gorilla Economist who's very, very sick. Fighting the monkey swine. This monkey swine. What the hell is a monkey swine? Fighting the flu.
It's a horrifying, filthy animal.
Yeah, the monkey swine is a very horrifying, filthy animal. I'm fighting it to no avail.
It's shunned by all religions.
It is. It is shunned by all. It is thrice reviled by Islam.
Nobody eats that mofo.
Islam and Judaism hate the monkey swine. It's horrible. So I'm fighting it. Got a lot of things going on in the crypto markets. I got Cowboy and Frank over here that's going to break things down. So, gentlemen, before I go into a hacking fit with coughing like Hillary Clinton, why don't you guys take it away?
Yeah. Well. Hey, you beautiful, gorgeous, sickened ape. You. It's good to be back on. It feels like we haven't done a show in a million years.
You beautiful, gorgeous, sickened ape. You.
So it's very good to be back with you guys. We had a bunch of time off for the holidays and then a couple of little hiccups, but we're finally back. And we usually do on Thursdays, just so people remember, we'll be getting back to this next week. We do 3 shows a week, all have their own theme, and they're all pretty great. So Mondays at 1 p.m. Eastern, we have our Monday Market Preview, where we look at what's coming up for the week. And so make sure you tune into that. Tuesdays, we always have Watch and Learn Tuesdays, where we take a couple of trades that Cowboy and or Z has recently taken, and we sort of dissect them for you. So it's an educational show. And then Thursdays, we usually do on a Thursday, which today is Thursday. We're not doing this today because it's special, but we usually do Visual Trading Thursday. We look at something like an indicator, something that'll help you read charts, and it's purely educational. And Cowboy has been just bringing us awesome stuff on that. So make sure you tune in Monday, Tuesday, and Thursday. We always do our shows. But since it is a new year and we've been missing for a little while, we wanted to do something special today. So today is our 2019 crypto market forecast. So we need one of those things where you cue sounds. We should have like an applause track. Or there we go. Yeah, you guys simulate it for me. We're going to do our 2019 crypto market forecast today. Very special show. Cue the applause. Very good. You're a little late. You're a little late, but
I wasn't clapping. I don't know what that was. I think V's watching what was it, monkeyswine.com or something?
Yes.
You're even grossing me out now. But anyway, so there's some really cool things going on. We've been talking about this. We're seeing in our space, and this is all kind of anecdotal. I'm not going to cite anything specific, but some of the newsletters that we all watch and follow, some of the groups that we follow, some of the news that's coming out. We've got people who've been shorting Bitcoin for a year who are finally taking profits on their shorts. This is over the last few weeks. We got newsletters who've been saying hold off for a year or so, are now saying buy. We've got just some really cool indicators that the mood in the market is finally shifting. And I have to admit, I'm not a trader or an analyst or anything. I'm more of an educator, but I have tended over this long bear market to be a guy who's like, so Cowboy, it looks like it's going to come around now, right? I've been that guy many, many times, which is why no one should listen to me when it comes to things like that. You should listen to me about other stuff, but not that. But it does seem like we're starting to experience a little bit of a change of heart and attitude in the market. And I don't know if that means we're going to go up from here, but it certainly seems like we're starting to pivot. So that's what we're looking at now. So what say you, Crypto Cowboy? And Happy New Year to you.
Yes. Happy New Year. Happy New Year to everybody. And I mean, I think that there is a possibility that, we've either hit the bottom or we're about to, or, it's going to happen soon. Yeah, I mean, if you were, shorted it at 15,000, then yeah, great time to take profit is at 3,000. So I would say that just based on like prior supports, 3,000 is an important number. 2,800 is an important number. I mean, the top of the prior bull market was something like 1,000. And I don't think we're going to go that low. And the great news is that usually, like after a lot of bloodletting, there tends to be some up. And so basically, in fact, when people sort of like abandon a particular asset because they just think it's going to never stop going down, that's usually when things start to go up. So it's like whenever people keep thinking, "Oh, the bottom's in," no, it's probably going to go lower. That's
Right.
If everybody says, "Oh, the bottom's in," we think the bottom's in, we think the bottom's close, that means it's probably going to go lower. When people just say like, "F Bitcoin, I'm done with this stupid electronic magic internet money. It's a joke."
I just like that. I like that description, magic internet money.
It's kind of
somebody write that down. That's like our next show name or band name or something. Magic internet money.
Magic internet money. Like, yeah, it's just, and when people start to really like ask, forget this and all this, and they just abandon it, that's usually when like the price starts to go back up. And based on, being in the community, I know there's a lot of people who are just gone. A lot of people got washed out. And so, yeah, there's a chance that we've seen the bottom. There is a chance that we will see it soon. There's a chance that it's not that far away if we haven't seen it already. And I've got some great news, and it's not going to sound like great news. But the news is right here. I've got it on the screen here. Bitcoin price suffers worst monthly losing streak in 7 years. Doesn't that sound great? Like,
wow. Sounds awesome.
Yeah.
So
like
why would that be good news? Does this go to what you were just saying, that when sort of everybody gives up?
In a sense, yeah. So
Okay.
it's like and this, of course, there's two reasons this could be good news. Reason number one, you shorted Bitcoin, but we're not talking about that. Reason number two is, yeah, if you have a ton of hardcore bloodletting, then even if the up is somewhat temporary, you're going to see an up, most likely. So to have the worst monthly losing streak in 7 years, that's pretty substantial. That would be qualified as some pretty heavy duty bloodletting. And I'm not sure what the metrics are. I'm sure it's by percent. So there's been a lot of stats. Right now, for the bottom to be here would be totally reasonable. That's a reasonable bottom to have seen the bottom at 3,100.
Right.
Very reasonable. I'm not saying it's the bottom, but here's the thing. And this can be vouched for by the people who are in the live comment section. I did a lot of research like 3 or 4 weeks ago, and out of the two traders in the room, there's me, there's Cryptonekos, who will once in a while come on this show. He does a lot of live shows on his own, and Cryptonekos is a bit more aggressive than I am. He takes a lot of trades and he wins more than he loses, and that's what matters. I'm at this point in the game, just because the market is so fragile, I'm actually a bit more conservative. When the bull market hits, I'm like, yeah, I'm in 19,000 coins and they're all doing great. But at a time like this, when things are fragile, I really am very careful about the trades I take. And I entered all in on Bitcoin. This was back at around, I can't remember exactly. It was like 3,300. And we rode it all the way up to something like 3,700.
Yeah.
Like that 3,800. And these are numbers from memory. We talked about this in one of the prior shows. We have a chart and everything, but basically like my entire book went up by 15% or something like that. So we're in the middle of this massive bear. Now, just to remind everybody, 11 days before we dropped from 6,000 and dropped down to the current price, 11 days before that, I drew a chart. I called it. You can go on to TradingView. You can look at Crypto Cowboy 2030. You can see the chart. And so you can actually open it up. You can press play. You can see my price. The price action follows what I wrote, like really, really closely. In that it went up, and then it went down, and then it went way down. Now, I thought 5,800 would be the local bottom. I got in at 5,800. I got right back out at 5,700. And then, so I lost a very small percent, something like, I don't know, 1.5% of my book or something like that. And then it went all the way down to like, 3,100. And I just stayed out, and so, just because. A couple small calls in the middle, a couple shorts that, we don't really talk about shorts and stuff in the room. But long story short, I'm more conservative. I got in. My entire book is up by 15% in dollars. So as far as Satoshi, as far as Bitcoin, I nearly doubled my amount of Bitcoin, just by staying out from that time, for that 6,500 down to that, 32 or 3,300. Right. It was 3,280 by the way when I got back in.
Which is an awesome strategy in the bear market, is to increase your Satoshis. That is to take your dollar value out, get back in at a higher amount of Bitcoin.
Absolutely. You know, and to sum all of this up and why I explained that is not only to relay how awesome that move was, because, you know, I had to relay that, but also, and what's actually like more important is that Bitcoin actually could go down to 1,000. The thing is, though, is that a trader such as myself is going to recognize that that's possible. And because I'm active in the market, I will gain another 5, 10, 15, or 50% just by watching it happen. And that's in dollars.
Yeah.
You know, so it's a matter of knowing when to get in and out of an asset. And if it's a falling asset, that's a great opportunity. So this is what I tell everybody. You know, if you're going to ride a train, are you going to get on the train after it's taken off, or are you going to wait at the station for the train to arrive and then? So this is the whole idea is, you know, I'm in there, I'm watching the price go down. I have a really good idea of where it's probably going to like start bouncing. And then I have metrics I can use to confirm that, okay, there's a very high probability that we have stopped here and we're going to go up here.
Yeah.
I look at a lot of different things. I look at open interest and, you know, I know, you know, 70 some odd % people are net long. And there's a lot of things I do. And I look at price action and things like that. And then, you know, then I board the train. And then the train takes off, and then I get off before the train starts going the other way. You know, so this is how traders make money in nasty, nasty, nasty markets.
Yeah, and we're gonna look at Bitcoin in a moment if you want to get that ready.
Sure,
Cowboy. And just to touch on that, obviously, little commercial for what we do, and then we're gonna look at Bitcoin in the short term and get some of Cowboy's thoughts on the mid to long term. But you know, we don't give financial advice. We don't tell you what to do, but you get to watch Cowboy and Z do exactly what he just described at watchustrade.io. So if you're in the group, now, if you're a person, you know, as I said, we don't give financial advice or anything like that. But if you're a person who has a sizable Bitcoin investment or crypto investment, having access to their research to see what they're doing can be very, you know, get insights to do your own research based off of that. And that's what it's worth. You know, there are all different kind of people in Watch Us Trade. Some of them are constantly, you know, some of them are pretty much day trading and they want to see what Cowboy and Z are doing. Other people are people who have a sizable or significant or meaningful investment in cryptos, and they want to see the sort of big calls, the sort of macro stuff that Cowboy was just talking about being in and out of Bitcoin, for example, things like that. They want to see what he's doing. So if that's interesting to you, it's for all different kinds of people. We even have different sections in our chat room where, for example, we have a spot right now where all we do is update you on what's happening with Bitcoin. And so if that's all you're interested in, that's all you have to watch. There's another section where the guys show their day trades. There's another section where they show sort of all their positions. So you can tailor that experience by just deciding which little sub rooms in our big workspace you want to follow. So you can get started with that at watchustrade.io. As I said, we're about to get to that Bitcoin chart, but one more thing. We've been running a special. We were going to close it down by now, but it's doing extremely well. People are really getting a lot out of it, and a lot of people are getting to try us out. And that's our 7 for 7 deal. It's $7 for 7 days of full access to the room, and it works really well. And then after that, you can upgrade to one of our subscriptions, or you could just let it sort of auto convert into a weekly subscription. So just check it out on watchustrade.io. It's really easy to find. Read the details, know what you're getting into. It's easy. You can cancel at any time, or you could let it go and stay with us, which we hope you will. And a lot of people have stayed with us. Very few people actually ever cancel that. So check it out. watchustrade.io. Get into the Watch Us Trade workspace and see what these guys are doing, because it's extremely entertaining, informative, and you'll get a lot out of it. Okay, so continuing with our theme, the crypto market forecast, we're going to look now with our main man, the master of TA, technical analysis, Crypto Cowboy. So first, if you would, I don't know if you want to work, which way you'd like to work, but I'm going to request this. Can we look at more of a long-term view of Bitcoin to start, whether it's long-term meaning a month or two, or however long you can go, and then look at the short term, the next few days or whatever?
Oh, I can go really long, Frank. Yeah, actually, so typically with the TA, the smart thing to do, or at least what I do, what I find most effective, and what a lot of professional traders do, is they will start with, say, with cryptocurrency. The daily chart is a good one to start with because it just doesn't have a long history. You know, crypto's only been around for so many years. I'll start with the weekly. Actually, we'll go like that. So we're going to look at basically this last 12 months or so, I mean, 15 months. And Bitcoin has had that massive run last year. This like April of last year, we get to see it really take off. And then, we had a dump in the summer, and then, up in October, and then all of a sudden, forgive me, August, September was the beginning of like the moon mission. So we went up to the moon, and that's great. And so basically, Bitcoin has done this fall that we've seen, and then we had this most recent dump right here. So what I do is, I can kind of take a look at the overall picture, and then you can see the sentiment right now a little bit. So I'm not going to get too technical on this, but if you kind of bring out some other metrics and look at a few other things, you will see that things are rather bearish at the moment. One thing to do on this chart is to look at some prior supports. So there's this right here on the far, far, far left. I'm going to leave it on the far left. You have where the price came up to about, say $3,000, $2,900, and then it came back down. And that did create a long-term support. And then we came back down to what actually was a prior support. No, I lied. It's not. We came back down to 1,800. And then we actually went up to this 5,000 mark. And then we came back down and we retested that 3,000. So the reason that we have stayed at 3,000 and not really kind of fallen below that is because this gap got filled in. So basically, and what I mean by that is the price came back down to retest that 3,000. So that actually kind of confirmed the strength of the 3,000 mark. And a lot of people, did a lot of buying and selling in this area. So that's why you're going to see, people's cost basis is 3,000. Price comes back down to 3,000. Oh man, it's back down to where I first bought it. I'm going to buy it again. There's those kinds of things that happen. So after that, we had the big long drop. Now, not to scare everybody, but the next support down that was retested is something like 1,300. So, I mean, we could fall that low. I mean, 1,000 is the top of the old bear markets or the old bull market. So I really doubt we're going to go below 1,000. I always said that if like the big banks wanted to really crush it just because, the Rothschilds didn't like it or something, then, 1,000 would be like pretty much really hard to push below 1,000. I mean, they can do whatever they want, but we're not having that conversation today. So we're going to go to the daily chart. And the daily chart is, we're just going to review this most recent price action here because the rest of it you saw, bounce, 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 bounce. It stayed kind of around that 6,000 mark, kept bouncing off that, which was pretty strong. And the reason that the 6,000 mark is important is because that is now going to be a resistance. Okay, so you have a 3,000 support, you have a 6,000 long-term resistance, and that's going to come into play in a moment here. So, we did have a bounce at 3,000 or so. And so now if you look at the overall, like if I brought out some EMAs, you would see that the trend is really still pretty bearish. Volume is decreasing down here, which means that there is going to be a decision point coming, and the overall sentiment is going to dictate that decision point. Overall sentiment is bearish, but it's becoming less and less bearish. So it remains to be seen what's going to happen when this volume dries out. But what I will do is, now that we understand that the sentiment is a bit bearish overall, we're going to jump down to the 4-hour chart. And we're going to take a look at what's happened over the last month. And so what has happened here is, this is your 6,000 resistance up here, right up here. And then this is your 3,000. To make a prediction for the next 6 months, or even three to 6 months, I'd say price is going to kind of it might be longer than that, but I think price will sort of bounce around I think if it doesn't go below 3,000, and it may, in fact, I kind of think it will. But let's just say that it goes to like 2,500 or something. The price is going to bounce around in this general area for quite a while. And that's great. I like that. If price stays within a range, then the alts are going to be a lot more stable and we can make a lot of money in alts. And I made most of my money on altcoins. So, that's kind of like my 6-month forecast, more or less. I don't think we're going to break 6,000. If we do break 6,000, it'll be, I think, towards the later part of the year. No, I have heard rumors from some guys on the inside that they're going to like springboard it up really fast. And that can always happen with Bitcoin. So, nothing is set in stone here. But basically, just price action wise, I think it's going to take a minute for us to get back up to 6,000. Now we break 6,000, that's going to be something. Then we're going to see some people start kicking in. We break 10,000, that's going to be something. More of the bulls really kick in. I think once we break 12.8, around there, like 13, because that's a prior important number. I think that's when the FOMO kicks in and we start our ascent back up to 20,000, and then of course, who knows where we go from there. Yeah.
So that's where a lot of our members will be reliving that same story that I'm told so many times every week, where someone says, "Oh man, I had this much and now I only have this much." People, I could talk to a lot of people and they'll talk about where they were during that big bubble spike that you started out showing us. And man, wouldn't it be better to be smarter this time and know what to do when we get back up there and see what's actually happening in the market and have some insight and wisdom on it. So,
I met a pro trader. Well, I meet him all the time. It's kind of my circle. And this guy's like a traditional pro trader. And he's like, yeah, my buddies and we're doing the Bitcoin thing. And it kept going up and to the right. And that's like, that means the price is just headed upwards. And he goes, and at one point we saw the price go above 15,000 and we were like, this is bullshit. And we sold everything.
Yeah.
Well, officially, your professional metric for when to sell is quote unquote, this is bullshit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's great. That is great. Hey, we have to go in a second. We all have a meeting we have to be at. But my main man, Anthony, in the comments here was, I promised I would ask, can we take a quick look at Litecoin, please? He's looking at what he thinks might be an inverse head and shoulders. Could you take a look at that and just give us your insight, see if you agree or if you have a different take on it? And then we're going to wrap it up for the day.
Do you see what time frame the inverted head and shoulders is?
No, let's see if he lets me know. Anthony, if you're still listening, buddy, let me know what time frame you're seeing it.
So here's the problem. This is what I think he's seeing, and this is what a lot of people are not taught.
Could also be looking at USD. I don't know. Anthony, any insights helpful?
Yeah, I'm on the BTC chart here, but so head and shoulders is
on the daily. Okay, so he's looking at a real short term.
No, the daily is the long term.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And he is, okay. Daily USD is what he's looking at. Thanks, Anthony.
So, first of all, there are a number of issues that I have with this. Issue number one, Litecoin measured in dollars pretty much doesn't matter.
Okay.
So because most people are transacting their Litecoin in Bitcoin.
Has that changed? Because I remember a while ago, early days together, we were looking at USD more when it came to Bitcoin. Yeah, sure looks like it in the USD. I could see where he's coming up with that.
Yeah, it's there. So with Litecoin, if you look at, first of all, it's number 8 in the market cap behind Stellar, EOS, Bitcoin Cash, Ripple, Ethereum. So it's fallen. Litecoin is pretty much useless fundamentally. There are a lot of It is outdone by every coin out there. It's old tech. The only reason that Litecoin will do well is if like somebody adopts it, like Facebook or something.
Yeah, so they need some kind of serious news, and I think the Litecoin community is so hungry for serious news that we've been kind of tricked a bunch of times. Where there's rumors of Amazon, or you get some kind of big message, Facebook has first cryptocurrency Litecoin, and then you look into it and it's really not that. It's something stupid. And there's a lot of Litecoin news like that, where something gets dropped where it sounds like the government is going to be doing taxes in Litecoin now. You're all going to be bazillionaires, and you find out it's some stupid little thing that really doesn't matter at all. Like, it seems like Litecoin of all the
Malawi is taking tax payments for bananas in Litecoin.
Yeah, I believe it or not, I have a very good friend
and prostitution.
I have a very good friend who's from Malawi, and he's a wonderful man. Isn't that random? Of all the places.
Malawi news aside, so
sorry,
what we're looking at here is, actually, I'm going to take back what I said about the dollar not mattering, because I'm looking at the volume. You got 8.3,
cool.
4.12. So there is a fair amount of volume being done in Tether, which is effectively being done at the dollar price. So like, not very, no one's trading, no one's buying. Like, a local trade is like the first exchange where actual dollars are being used. But in dollar price, it is mattering. So, and that's kind of a long story. We're not going to go why. If we were looking at that, then the reason that I don't think it matters is because Bitcoin is just the mentally deficient baby brother of Bitcoin that's being dragged along to the mall.
Right.
So he's going to travel slower than Bitcoin. He's going to rise less than Bitcoin. So if you're going to trade Litecoin, I would just trade Bitcoin. It's like, well, first of all, it's like you're going down the same river, but you have a chance to be in a much better boat. So with Litecoin, the issue here, yes, it's a legit head and shoulders bottom. It's not an inverse head and shoulders. It's called a head and shoulders bottom. An inverse head and shoulders would actually look different than this.
I didn't know that.
Talk to you. You can look up inverse head and shoulders, and you will see it look like this on Google, but reality, that terminology is incorrect.
Gotcha.
This is a head and shoulders bottom. So essentially, it's a reversal pattern. Now, if this played out, and it could, you would see at the max, at the maximum, you would see something like an even move, say from here to here, once it breaks neckline. Gotcha. So the problem is, though, is that Bitcoin is going to dictate this. So if I were to do a chart next to this with Bitcoin, and we were just to kind of match them up, BTC, USD, we'll go with Coinbase. I mean, look at them. Look at them.
Look at them.
I mean, wait, are we looking at the same chart? This is Litecoin, this on the left, this is Bitcoin on the right. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, the reality, yeah, you know, if you want to trade Litecoin, a great way to do it is just to look at Bitcoin. Mm-hmm. You know, that's all there is to it. Yeah. I will say that the actual slope here on Litecoin is a little healthier than Bitcoin. But you know, it's the neckline is actually a positive neckline. But yeah, just, I don't know, watch Bitcoin. Litecoin's going to do the same thing. It's just pretty much how I can answer that question in the short way. I would, if I were actually to enter this, how I would enter it, it's too late to enter at the shoulder. So I would probably look for a breakout. I'm going to zoom in on this. I'm going to say how I would trade this. So everybody who's watching now gets a freebie. Okay. And we have to go after this, but
yeah.
Basically the way I would trade Litecoin is I would enter one of two ways. I would enter here at the neckline, and I would set a sell probably around here. And the reason is that there's a structure right here.
Can you say it? It's a little hard to see on the, I'm watching on a smaller screen and it's a little hard to see.
Yeah.
Oh, actually, you know what? I'm probably just a few seconds behind you on the other screen. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. My bad.
I think I fixed what you were looking at. But I'll still expand it. So I would enter like right here. Once it broke the neckline, and go for there, and I would set a stop. But unfortunately, your stop loss is going to be way down here. It's just that, well, you could put a stop loss just below this a little bit, but the appropriate stop loss is below that right shoulder. So you're going to have an inverse risk reward ratio, meaning for me it's a no-go, meaning that you can only win, say if it enters right here from $37 to $47, but $10, but you can lose from 37 to say about 26. That's $11. And you could monkey around and get yourself a 1-to-1, but my rules say I would not enter this trade. Now, if I was risky, I might enter it here and hope that it goes up. But I'm not. A lot of people are calling this head and shoulders with Bitcoin, which is the same thing as Litecoin in this case. And it's kind of memeish to me. I will play it, but I'm going to play it a different way. I'm not going to be depending on this head and shoulders business. But I mean, hey, you know what? Head and shoulders have a very high probability.
Say, one thing before we wrap up, it was pretty cool just as a crypto person to see Bruce Buffer talking about Litecoin while he was introducing the Chris Cyborg Amanda Nunes fight the other day. Did you guys see that?
No, I missed it.
Litecoin was on the mat as a sponsor of the championship fight the other night with what's his name, John Jones and the other guy, and Amanda Nunes and Chris Cyborg. Which the Amanda Nunes was amazing. If you guys haven't seen that, check it out.
No.
But yeah, Bruce Buffer, I love him. He's the announcer, the guy that goes, "It's time." That guy, I love that guy. And he's like, "Litecoin," and I'm like, "What?"
That's the kind of thing that will cause Litecoin to go up is that kind of thing.
Yeah, well, it was encouraging to me, thinking like, okay, they may not be the best technology, but they're trying to get into the pop culture psyche, and that's pretty cool to hear Bruce Buffer.
They announced it at the UFC, man.
What's that? That's what I'm talking about.
232, they announced Litecoin as the official cryptocurrency.
Yeah, no, that's what I'm talking about. Bruce Buffer announcing it while he was setting up the Nunes fight. I mean, it was just cool.
Yeah, so it has a chance. I'm not gonna. I'll personally go with Bitcoin, but Litecoin has a chance. We'll leave it at that.
Yeah.
It's got a puncher's chance now.
Yeah. All right, guys. Hey, watchustrade.io. Check it out. You need to be with us. You need to get on the train before it takes off. As I think it was one of our cats here, maybe it was Anthony who was asking about Litecoin, was saying he's gotten on a moving train and it's no fun. Get on the train while it's still in the station, and check out watchustrade.io. $7, 7 days full access. We'd love to have you. Check it out. And that's all I got. My what did you call yourself? The swiney ape?
Swine ape.
Swine ape. Oh
Monkey
man,
swine.
That's like scarier than the Toxic Avenger, the monkey swine.
Monkey swine.
Terrifying creature you've created.
It's a chimera.
All right. All right. We're out.
Thank you for listening. We're out. Subscribe, folks. Subscribe and hit the notification bell. Thank you for your love and support. I'm out. I'll be back tomorrow. Hopefully I'll feel better.